Hey everybody, welcome to Bob's Backyard, and on this episode we're going to do the winch on the dump box we've been working on for getting it to dump. Now I've got the log arch trailer that I showed you before, and it's got a remote control, handheld remote control. So the other day when I was getting all the parts gathered up and making my plan on how to get the winch to work, and I thought, well, geez, if I make it so the one controller will do both winches, it won't matter whether I use one trailer or the other, the winch will still work on it. Now, my plan is when I do the log arch trailer for hauling logs out of the bush, I'm going to take the winch off the wood hauling trailer that I turned into a log arch. I'm going to take it off and I'm going to put it on that piece. So it's going to be further away from the bike than what it is now, which means I need a longer lead. So it's like, well, let's take the winch apart, the power lead on the winch off this, and make the new connectors up to go on a longer lead, and then it'll all work. And when you'll see what I do, hopefully you'll understand where my thought process goes, and hopefully this works so it won't be a disaster and got to start all over again. Okay, so what we got here is we got the winch. This is a control box for the winch, and when I hooked all this up, what I did was I used gaiters, jumper cable ends, to this, and then that went to the bike. I had to take the seat off to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the undo here, put those nuts off, pull the wires off, put a different connector on this, and that's the other lead that doesn't matter. At least I'm pretty sure that's the lead that doesn't matter, because it works like this without it. Okay, so I'm just going to shut you off for a minute. I'm going to go get a nut driver and a wrench, and we'll take that apart. Okay, so I'm just going to undo these nuts, and then I'll put the nuts back on. I'll tighten them down so if I use the trailer, I don't lose my washers and stuff. Because, you know, these are the hardest things to find, is the extra nuts and washers. And every time I scrap a winch, I keep forgetting to save the nuts off it, because I don't know about you guys. I go through on the four-wheeler, I go through a winch every couple of years because I actually use it quite a bit. Plowing takes a lot out of a winch because you're using it constantly. You're only going in and out, 10, 12 inches at a time. And it's just you're just constantly lifting it up, putting it down, lifting it up, putting it down. And then when I get doing work in the bush, I'm always using the front winch. And usually when I go to really use the winch, because it's only been going in and out a couple of, foot or so, you've overextended it. When you got the plow on, it has a tendency to double up, and then you end up having to cut the rope or redo the wire. So this is the control box. This is what I need. Because I can put it on the four-wheeler, and you're going to like the way I think I got things figured out. Okay. I'm going to reiterate, because I don't know where they're shut off. Taking this box off. That's the remote that would go to the handlebars normally. And that box gets mounted up underneath where you don't see it. But I was using these leads temporarily to test the day before yesterday, because this is taking a couple of days. So there's those leads. This is the lead off my generator to charge batteries. I didn't want to cut it up. I would have if I had no other choice. But it's always better to have choices. So I'm just going to remove off of here, if I can get on it. Now, isn't that funny? I literally just undid there, and now this does not want to come. let's get this control box off. And then, you see okay there? Okay, so we're just going to take this control box off. And I'm going to undo it from the battery on the four-wheeler. Hey, that's not a bad spot. As long as I don't wiggle you too hard and you fall off. As soon as I get this dump box out of the way, I'll be cleaning the shop up again before my next project. That's for sure. So we're going to disconnect the battery. I bought new wire. I bought new connectors because I didn't have any 10 gauge connectors. And I went with a heavy 10 gauge connector. So that we're going to carry the draw onto the winch better. So what we got here is basically when you hook these up, the side you bring the wire in on, you always got to make sure you put the boot on first, and then you run the wire up and around to the other side and connect it in there like that. And then you clamp it on this side too. That way when you pull on the wire, you're not going to break the connection over here. Right? Because they have a tendency to get caught on stuff and break. So if I do this right, I can cut this out of there after. But all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to cut that there. Make sure I put my connector covers back on. Don't want to lose those. If I have to use these again for something else, I will. They were cheap. I got them off Amazon. So I got two ends, or two red ends, two black ends, and they were pretty good for the price. And there, cut that lead, cut that lead. So when I left here yesterday, I thought I am just going to run to town. I'll stop at Canadian Tire. I'll get what I need. And just like old Mother Hubbard, the cupboard was bare. So I ended up driving 45 minutes to Barrie, Princess Auto. Princess Auto had a sale on. So all the trailer stuff, connectors and things like that, they're all on sale. So I saved a couple of bucks per item. And so because it's a 45-minute drive to Barrie all the time, I decided I would put it to one trip. So I bought enough stuff to do 3 projects, same. So that means I got a bracket to mount to this, to put my, so there's 2 male ends, and there's my female end, right? So if I take this bracket, I mount it here. Like I say, I can slide that. I wonder, I don't think I have a piece of plywood left. I could change the plywood out if I had a piece of plywood bigger. But I can take that, mount that there, give or take an inch. Can you see that? Okay, and then this is the female 7-pin, and I will mount it to that. So it'll go like this. This goes here. Hell, if I move that over, run those through there. Run that through there. Right? There. Put that box right there. Still protected by the bag and that. And then if I put these leads, go to this, right? This, if this mounts, I gotta figure out where I'm gonna mount that. That's, if it's, I should be able to get it there, right? And then when I want to plug in, I plug in, hardwire it to the winch, and leave the lead so it will be long enough to go from the winch to here, right? The winch to there with a slack, and we should be good. Should be good. And I might have to drill an extra hole in this, just so instead of having one screw, I got two. Although I could put, if I screw something to here, I could put this, well, even if I screwed something to there and got it higher, I could have it back there, which might be better. Might be better. That's more in line. That gives me more wire here. You know what? Let's try that and see what happens. See, this is on my way to Barrie yesterday to go to Princess Auto, because that's the closest Princess Auto. I got stuck in traffic, so I had lots of time to contemplate this. And I started thinking how to do this. And that's why I decided to take this controller off that one and put it on the bike this way, and then make slave cables to go from it. Because it makes more sense to have one control system, and then that way, no matter what I plug into it, I got it, right? So whether I got the dump box or some form of log arch, I got it covered. And that's where I'm going. I think that's the best. I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good thing. And yeah. You guys can tell me whether I'm crazy or not, or I overthink too much. But I know I'm only going to use 2 pins on the 7-pin system, but I do think it's still better than not. So I'm going to take these 2 leads. I'm going to feed them down between the plywood and the rack. And then I'm going to feed them up to underneath the seat. And once I get up there, I'll be able to put the connector ends on that I need. See, all these factory things come with all the connectors and everything on them, so I didn't have to do anything. And now that I needed to do something different, I ended up having to buy more stuff. But I got 25 feet of wire. Actually, I got 50 feet of wire, 25 red, 25 black. And that should be enough to do the wiring jobs I got to do. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping. So let's see if I can find something to fit this bracket. I should have something over here. That'll suffice. I usually got a scrap of plywood or something. Plywood will hold up the best, I think. Better than a block of wood, because the block of wood, the scrap, or the screw could probably crack it. I don't want to use aspenite. Screws will come out of that. Could use a piece of oak, I guess. MDF will just rot away. You know, I cleaned up the shop, I rearranged everything, and it's hard to find stuff now. I guess I should have done a better job of keeping track. Keeping on, I guess. You know what? Maybe we'll save that part for a rainy day. We're already on a rainy day. How about we do what we can with what we got? Now, those 2 screws right here. I think. We'll let this come apart. And then we just got to decide which 2 pins we're going to use. I know I'm going to use the center pin. Okay, well, let's undo this screw at the back. Because this is the one that clamps the wire in, right? And the only thing I may have to do there is throw some caulking into that hole. I just got to screw this back down to the wood. Huh. How about oh, there. Okay. Okay, those go there like okay, so I run those 2 wires over just a bit down, and I got those wires bent in such a way I think we'll be okay. I'll hammer that down. Okay, that's in there. Everybody, I'm having camera troubles. I'm going to do this off camera, and then I'll pick it up later after I get these batteries charged, because I have 2 batteries down in one day.